Three special guests. Actually, we have
Yes, we do.
Jack Cryer, promoter, Bernice Barber, a boxer, and Bernice's belt. And let me tell you something, Jack. You can't get this belt at Virginia Beach Sports or at Hex.
Can't buy
You got to
one.
win this thing, right, Bernice?
That's right.
Why don't you tell us what this belt is?
Okay, this is the UBA Pan American Junior Middleweight title belt, and I won that in Flint, Michigan, March 28th by defeating Patrick Bird. It was a scheduled 12-round fight for this title.
And there's a little, just judging by the engraving on the side, there's a little bit more to this belt,
Yes.
too.
To me, no matter what other title I would ever win, even if it's a world title ever, for me, this will always be the most important one because it's my first one, and I dedicated this fight to my grandfather, which died right before I fought this fight. So as you see, the engraving on this side is dedicated to my grandfather. And there's three generations of barbers. There's Bernice Barber Sr., my father, Bernice Barber Jr., then myself, Bernice my birth certificate says Bernice the third, but I'm actually Bernice the second, but I guess they can screw it up somewhere. I'm the third. But there's three generations of us, you know. And just us having that same name and it being dedicated to my grandfather, it'll always be important to me.
Well, in the first segment, when we were talking to Brian Rogers, he talked about how his grandfather was actually kind of the inspiration for him to get into boxing. Mm-hmm. Did your grandfather play a role in this as well?
No. Really, my father didn't either. My break into boxing really pretty much came from my manager now, Bob, and Bob Freegan. I've always been in karate since I was like 8 years old, and from being around the karate school, I met Bob and hearing about fighting and stuff. I kind of came to the gym, started working out, got a fight, got more fights, and it just all progressed to where I'm at today.
Right.
But
tell us about
nothing in
Bernice,
between.
Jack. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, Bernice is probably the most improved boxer in Hampton Roads over the last, I'd say the last 6 months. He's also got a new trainer, the same trainer as Brian Rogers, Bobby Jordan, and he also trains out of the same gym, Karate International. And I did want to say this about Karate International. We have a wonderful gym there. We have the prima donna boxing gym in the Hampton Roads area. It is what you might want to call a boxing gym where the guys can actually go in and get the work done without interfering with other people working out. You know, at Waring's gym, you go there and you can't really get a whole lot done because of the good-looking girls running around. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But when you
or
come,
Sweet Pea may take a corner and that's
so
it.
when you come to Karate International, you're serious. You're serious about what you're doing, and that's what he's done since he's been working out there. He's been serious. We've got him with a new trainer. He's put on a lot of muscle mass. Of course, this victory for him over Patrick Bird, and Patrick Bird had over 320 amateur fights. He had an amateur record of like
320 amateur fights.
309 and 12.
Counting those in school and everything else.
I'll tell you what, he was one of the most phenomenal boxers. And in a little while, I know we're gonna look at the tape on Patrick, but Patrick is a very similar fighter to Sweet Pea. He was undefeated when Bernice fought him, and nobody gave him any kind of chance at all of beating this kid. And he lost the first 9 rounds to him, but slowly but surely he slow walked him down.
Right.
And this was a tremendous victory for him. One of the things Bernice wants to do today is he wants to challenge Sweet Pea. He feels like this would be an opportunity for the Hampton Roads area to see 2 of the best boxers from the area. And we're all up for it. Sweet Pea's always talking about fighting at home. He wants to fight at home, and Lou Duva and Kathy Duva, Dan Duva, and Dino Duva, and all of them always go to the big venues, or the more where the money is. But we want to bring them to Scope.
Right.
Or we'll bring them to the Pavilion. We don't care.
Right. But Jack, realistically, though, these guys all have to pay a certain amount of dues, and I'm sure Bernice, and we're going to see some tape of him, is that it's a solid guy. But so far, he's got 13 professional fights under his belt. So how realistic is it? I mean, to challenge Sweet Pea's nice, but in reality, what would it take to try and what would you have to do in your career path to get a shot at a guy like Sweet Pea?
He's already won 2 titles. He just won the Virginia Championship. He beat Anthony Pope, fought on ESPN twice. He just beat Patrick Bird, as we just discussed. And he's also already been recognized to be able to fight for the USBA title, which he may, if that's why the November 21st date for boxing here may not work, because there may be a championship fight that he'll be fighting for a USBA title. So if he wins that USBA title, I don't see how in the world anybody can ignore him. I mean, that's the lower rung of the IBF, and he's supposed to fall into the rankings for October this month anyway.
Right. Well, as we said, we've got some clips of Bernice fighting, and as Jack was telling us, it sounds like in the early going was kind of a struggle for you. Maybe the other guy was getting the best of you, so kind of bring us up to speed about where this fight started to turn around, and we'll run some clips, and you can narrate some more on it.
Okay, well, I came out in the first round. I mean, I was already kind of, not afraid, but I was wary of the guy because he was such a good fighter, undefeated. And he dropped me in the second round. This is the first knockdown in the ninth. And the previous round before that, my manager Bob had got me really motivated. You know, you fighting this fight for your grandfather. Hey, let's go win this fight. So this the round after, and I said, hey, I got to take it to the guy.
Now this fight was in Flint, Michigan.
Flint, Michigan.
Before the hometown audience, on hometown television, the whole 9 yards, and here he is just completely annihilating Patrick Byrd. Like I say, he stuck to his game plan throughout the whole fight. He took some early shots, Patrick being an excellent boxer and, of course, having all the experience on Bernice. But you can see this kid just rises to the occasion here.
Well, looks like you wanted to get in there, Bernice. You can wait to get back at this guy. I mean, can you tell when a guy is just about beaten?
You can, if you look at him hard and look in his eyes, you can tell if he really wants to be there anymore, if he's getting tired of what's happening. And I could slowly see signs that he got tired of moving away from me. He started sitting a little closer to me.
I mean, I'd have
And
stopped
that's all I
that right
wanted.
there. I mean, I can't.
But they didn't want him to lose the fight. They wanted to give him every chance to come back.
Jack, keep watching. The best part's yet to come.
Now, at this point, is the other guy ahead on points? I mean,
Oh yes,
did you need a knockout?
he's definitely ahead. The commentator said he had won every round except maybe the first one, which was maybe even. But this is what I wanted. This is what I was waiting for the whole night. Slug with me. Sit here and fight with me.
I
finally
call that
did it.
slugging.
There it is.
Now watch him when he gets up. Watch this when he gets up. Oh!
Oh, man.
Where's my
What a
mommy?
punishment you inflicted on that young man.
Yes, I mean I had 9 rounds to give back to him what he gave to me over 9. You know, so he got it all back.
Where did you find
right
the strength that late? Because, you know, in the Rocky movies, you see the guy come along, and in real life, that very rarely happens. But here's a situation where, I mean, you were clearly just dominating the heck out of this guy in the last couple of rounds.
Well, pretty much. I mean, you can be a fighter and you can be a good fighter, but there's somewhere you got to get your motivation from. And having my manager Bob, which is before he was my manager, he was my friend. You know, I was here alone. I came to Virginia and just spent Thanksgiving and Christmas at my manager's house before he was my manager. So whenever he's there, when he has the key to get me motivated. And before that previous round, you know, he turned the fire on, and that's what happened.
How does a young man from Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina, near Raleigh, as we all know, how do you end up here in Hampton Roads?
Well, I used to manage restaurants. I was managing a Hardee's at the time. I started managing McDonald's, and I got transferred here to the Hardee's on Princess Anne. And it didn't too much work out. And I had been in karate the whole while anyway. And taking karate at Bob's school, Karate International. And that's when I met Bob, and it just came into where I am today, boxing. I was kickboxing first.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It seems like there was a very natural progression from karate to kickboxing.
I was state amateur kickboxing champion. I was 7-1-1 with 7 first-round knockouts. And it started getting hard for me to get kickboxing bouts, so I started boxing. And having no amateur experience, I'm 9-3-1. I lost my first 2 fights boxing in the beginning because I had no amateur experience. But as I progressed in the gym, got more fights, like Jack said, I became a lot better.
Right.
And here I am now.
I'm curious, for a guy who has done both, the kickboxing and the boxing, which is the more physical, which is the tougher sport in your
Boxing
mind?
is tougher.
Why?
Because the guy is right there in your face. I mean, you can't kick him out the way. You got to punch with him. Where kickboxing,
But by the same token, you don't have his foot in your face either.
Right, but if you can kind of just throw a side kick here and there, around kick, you can get your distance more so. Where boxing is pretty much in your face action. You know, you got to work.
Right.
You know, ain't no lap time, ain't no resting time too much.
I got to ask you this, Bernice. Your good friend Brian Rogers told us about how he got his nickname Cherokee. And we're told, you told us during the break, that you've got a nickname called, you're now called the Heat. Yeah, I want you to go through that a little bit for us.
Like
I want you to take the evolution of these nicknames and how you got to the Heat.
But my name Bernice. You got all these clowns on the job, you know, and there's me, of course. I'm a big clown too, and they come up Bernice and then Bernice the Furnace.
Which I think is really kind of a neat nickname. I like that.
If the heat's too hot in the furnace, you got to get out of the kitchen like, the heat. And then my manager like, Bernice the heat. Bernice the heat barber, so that way it don't sound too much. Bernice the furnace like a joke. So we kept it Bernice the heat.
Well, Jack, one thing I want to jump in on you because he's a very personable guy. You sound like you're a lot of fun to be around. How do you balance a boxing part and the kickboxing? They're both such violent physical things. Is this an outlet for you? I mean, what you?
No, to me, it's just like just football, basketball. I mean, to me, I think more people get hurt in football.
Right.
I mean, you come up with broken legs and arms and stuff. I mean, at least boxing, you know the guy's going to punch at you. It's more so skill and technique. To me, it's almost like a chess. It's almost like a chess match. He makes a move, I make a move to counter. You know, it's to me. I don't. I mean, yes, it can get nasty. I mean, you got to be able to get nasty in order to be a good fighter.
Right.
But you know, it's just to me, it's just business.
Can you turn that on and off, though? I mean, can you distinguish between Bernice Barber, the regular guy, and Bernice Barber, the guy who's going to pummel somebody in a ring?
When I get in that ring, it's like it just changes. It changes real quick too. You know. You got to get down to business. You know?
And speaking of getting down to business,
getting down to business and things that happen real quick, we're out of time, gentlemen, and we really thank you. All three of you. In fact, all four of you. All four of our guests. But Bernice Barber, we wish you the very best of luck, certainly, in the upcoming fight in November. So that's going to do it for this edition of Time Out with Jack and Chick. He's Chick, I'm Jack. Thank you for being with us, and we'll be back next week.